Hi everyone, my name is Maria and I am the Grin Stitcher here on Flosstube and over on Instagram. And this is my March roundup and I'll be talking to you about all the things I did in March, everything I stitched, finished, started, all the things, and a little bit about plans for April and May even at the end of the video. I've got the cheat sheet, I've made myself a video plan, so hopefully that will be helpful, both for me and for you. A bit less editing for me and a bit more of a structured video for you. I will do the time tags, or whatever they're called, timelines, in the description so you can see on the bar of the video progress if you can skip, or if you can go back and rewatch something and only see the topics that you want to see. So I'll be covering today my FFOs, well, just one, finishes, starts and finishes, just starts, whips, a bit of sewing that's cross-stitch related, haul in March, shows and films that I watched and really impressed me, some mentions, people who mentioned me and people who I've watched on Flosstube in the past month. A little bit about books and gaming if I did do any of that, so that will be a sort of a regular part of the monthly videos, and like I said, a bit of plans for April and May. But first and foremost, I want to thank every single one of you for watching and commenting and leaving absolutely wonderful, encouraging words and advice under my previous videos. I started my channel in March and I've only had a couple videos out, and I did not expect such amazing feedback. I am just so grateful. I feel so appreciated and heard and seen, and just really as part of the community. And I think, to be honest with you, that's probably what I was missing a bit on my Russian speaking Flosstube. So for anyone new here, hi and welcome. I am a stitcher from Belarus who lives in UK, and I have had a channel on the Russian speaking Flosstube for a few years now, and this March I've decided to start a channel in English as well, as English, it's not my first language, but it's the language I speak the most in my everyday life at the moment. And to everyone who is returning, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with me. I am incredibly grateful. For everyone who left me questions under my previous videos and in comments on Instagram, I have filmed a video telling you about the way I stitch, why I use scroll frames, how to use a bead organizer, how I get electronic patterns. So I'll link it, I think it's this corner, right top yours and left top mine when I'm filming. So you'll see the video here if you want to watch it. Other than that, probably let's get started. This is going to be a longer one as I'm covering sort of the whole March with my stitching, and yeah, probably let's get to it. I will start with a little bit of a long story short. I think one of the reasons A, I started my channel in March, and B, have been stitching on what I've been stitching and have felt so great about my stitching in March is I have, and you probably haven't seen it because it happened a couple months ago. So just after New Year's, I have gone through my whips and I have what's the word? UFO'd. I have UFO'd 2 designs that I had started in 2018. I still enjoyed the way the finished picture would look, but I no longer enjoyed the process of stitching them, and I haven't picked them up in a while, and I have only been stitching on them for 1,000 or 2 a year, if that much. And I won't show them now. I'm just sort of saying it for the sake of giving you the background story, sort of. I think what happened with, and I think those were my only or very few sort of UFOs. I had probably UFO'd 1 project in the whole sort of lifetime of me stitching, which has been about 8.5 years now. So since then I hadn't UFO'd anything until, like I said, a couple months ago. And I think what happened was once I've sort of let go and let myself UFO the designs I didn't want to stitch anymore, something unlocked in my brain, and I have decided to just do more of what I want and when I want in my stitching. I've stopped making plans, especially like hard plans that I have to stick to. I've stopped stitching on designs that I didn't want to stitch on. I have stopped postponing buying the patterns I've always wanted to buy and starting them right then and there. And you have caught sort of the end of this new sort of era in my stitching, I guess, where I've started some of the designs, and I will show you one of the finishes today. So I hope it makes sense. So what I'm trying to say is I have felt really good about my stitching in March. Very different from the way I felt for the last couple of years, which is honestly a breath of fresh air, which has made me very excited to stitch, to film, to buy new designs that I've always wanted, to kit them up. And like I said, wait till the end to hear my plans for April and May. Okay, that's it. That's it for the intro. Let's get to my FFOs. So for anyone new or anyone who hasn't seen a Flosstube video before, I'll be sort of deciphering the acronyms. I think everyone in Flosstube says we have a lot of acronyms, and for anyone new, you might not know what they mean. So FFO is a fully finished object, which means you took your finished stitching in the way that you finished it, and you've decided to, I don't know, either frame it or do something else with it and sort of fully finish. So this is actually an unexpected FFO. I didn't mean to sort of fully finish it. So let me show you the design and then I'll talk you through what I've done with it. So here is my FFO, and that is a design by a Russian designer. I'm not really sure what their name is anymore. I have stitched it years and years and years ago, probably before I moved to, not probably, definitely before I moved to UK, which was almost 6 years ago now. So that's a really, really old finish. And this is Dumbledore and the Phoenix. And I believe it's designed based on Piccolo's art, but I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Like I said, it's been years. I don't know if the designer had the copyright to use the design at that point. It was, yeah, I'm not sure. So I've had it set in my roll of finished designs, and I have actually a companion piece that I had fully finished and framed a couple of years ago, which I'll show you in one of my other videos. I have had it sitting in my roll of finishes. I didn't feel like framing it for some reason. So a few years ago, I was really obsessed with Harry Potter. I've stitched a few Harry Potter designs. I think I still had a couple in my stash that I decided not to stitch anymore. And nothing really happened. I just sort of moved on and fell in love with other fandoms and other universes and other characters and all. But this design has always, I've always loved it. I think it looks really, really great. The colors are really popping, and I wanted to see it more in my everyday life. And so, and I will actually, what I'm planning to do in April, and I'll tell you that at the end again, if someone's just skipping to the end to see the plans. In April, I'm planning to film 2 videos besides the April roundup. So around the 10th of the month and around the 20th of the month, I'll film. One of the videos will be about some of my favorite finishes and favorite FFOs. And the other one will be stitching with cats. That's what I'll call it. And I'll show you, I think I haven't seen one like this before, and I think it might be interesting. As a new cat parent, only of a few months, I have had to sort of adapt and reorganize and restructure my stitching process and my storage to allow for cats to be near me when I'm doing it, for everyone to be safe and sound, not to get hurt, not to eat needles and threads and things. And I'm going to talk to you about that a bit more in that video. But as part of that reorganization, I've had to create covers for my frames, and I'm just showing you one of the frames that I'm using at the moment, for when I'm not stitching on it, but it's on my stand and it's either set on my desk or it's set downstairs near the sofa or somewhere else, because the cats will try to steal the needles off the needle minder, steal the needles with threads, will try to chew on beads if it's a mirabilia that's being beaded. And so as one of the FFOs, I've decided to make this lovely cover for a frame. And I had this fantastic fabric just sat in my stash. I've tried to make a project bag out of it and it wasn't working out really well. But when I decided, I had a look through my roll of finishes and saw this design and thought that I wanted to FFO it this way. I've had a look through the stash and found this fantastic fabric that's this perfect sort of grayish purple. The only color that comes to mind is like 452, 453 by DMC as a base, and then the silver sort of Celtic patterns on it really remind me of the half moon glasses that Dumbledore wore. So I thought this would be an absolutely perfect, let me just open it, absolutely perfect way to FFO it. So the way it looks when it's on its own is like so. So I've used this fabric for all of the front to add more sort of to the size of the design itself. The design is cut to the size of the frame, as you could see, so that the whole design is visible when it's covering the frame. And then I added this light blue fabric on the back and just quilted it in squares. I've used cotton wadding for this first time, and I found it was really nice and easy to quilt it, but it was quite hard to later on do like this final seam when you've sewn everything together, turned it inside out, and then are doing, you know, like the final last bit of it. So there's that, and then I'm just using Velcro. I found that that's the best and easiest way for me to sort of put these onto my frames, and it just wraps around and it just goes over your over my frame, as you saw, and I just absolutely love it, and I'm so proud that it turned out so lovely and so nicely. I'm not really a good sewist, like I said in one of my other videos. I have made a few project bags before, and I have made some this month actually that I'll show you later, but I'm not really good at other type of sewing. So for me to make this is quite a big deal, and I'm quite proud of myself, if I can say so. So I love it, absolutely love it. This way I get to see the design all the time. It fits a few of my bigger frames, and I'm using it, like I said, when I'm using it for the whip that I'm currently working on a bigger frame. And I absolutely love it. And it's, like I said, because I added the cotton wadding, it's a bit thicker, so it gives you a little bit of that padding. So even if the cats decide to do anything with it, which they actually don't, which is nice, they won't like claw their way through to the fabric, which again, touch wood, but they're quite good with that. So I'm absolutely pleased. I'm so pleased and so happy that I've managed to FFO it and give it a second life. I am very much a FFO kind of person in terms of doing it myself, and also sort of that being the end goal of my stitching. I love the process, I love starting, I love finishing, but then for me a stitched piece is like fully alive, fully realizing itself only when it's completely finished, which is either framed or, you know, made in a box like these two, or made into a frame cover or something, and it's being used and looked at and loved, and yeah. So really pleased, and let's move on to the next one. So I've also had some finishes in March. I've only had 2 that weren't starts as well. So I'll probably show you a little one first, and then we'll talk about the big nice one. So in March I had finished this lovely little cat designed by Mandarinks, and I'll spell her Etsy name in the description. For some reason YouTube won't let me link to things yet. I'm not sure if it's because I'm new on YouTube or I need to sort of get a certain amount of watch hours or something. So for now I'm just putting the names of the artists and names of the designers in the description. So this lovely cat, and she designed it, and I'll probably insert some pictures of close-ups for the little things so you can see things a bit better. So this one I think is sort of vaguely based on the style that Laurie Birch uses, and I've added, so the sequins shaped like stars was part of the plan. Then I've added metallic threads instead of the sun and the moon, which were meant to be stitched in DMC. The mustache, the whiskers, cat's whiskers, are stitched in metallic as well as the eyes, and I've changed the irises, the pupils, right? So I didn't realize until I'd done it that it's a Laurie Birch design, and then sort of, and her style has more like cats with human face features, with like the noses and the eyes that have round pupils, and I've just made these look like vertical little slits with backstitch. So yeah, but I still love it, and I've stitched it on perforated paper in brown, which I love. It's one of my favorite ways to stitch these little mini designs, and I have FFO'd it into a magnet, backing it with some felt, and it lives on my magnetic board, which you'd seen in the my stash organization video. So here's this lovely cat. I just absolutely fell in love with it when I saw somebody stitch it. The star-shaped sequence is just fantastic, and there's so many beads, and the only thing is that she calls for Preciosa check beads. I didn't have any in stash. I've had the comments from other stitchers saying they're sold everywhere. I think I've found them after I'd already finished it, but I had Mill Hill in stash, which was close enough, so I used Mill Hill beads instead. So my next finish, and oh, such a joy in March, and also probably the result of me being off work for the first week in March, is a shepherd's bush stocking, and it's my first one and definitely not my last one. This one was called Jeffrey's stocking. In my house it's Maria's stocking, and I've made some changes as you've seen in the whips video, and here it is, fully finished. Oh well, finished with all the stitching, not fully finished yet, and I am still missing the embellishments and the buttons and things. Oh, you can see really well. I'm pleased. You can see the variegation. I'll be inserting photos here as well of the close-ups so you can see a bit better. So again, to talk you through my changes if you liked it and you wanted to do it this way yourself. So the design calls for 18 count Witchelt linen and for pearl number 5 threads, both in DMC and in hand-dyed threads. I did love the sort of effect of the hand-dyed thread, so I did want to stitch with the variegated threads. However, I don't have a big stash of hand-dyed threads. I had found that most of the designs call for, you know, your regular moulinet sort of thickness of, you know, whatever it's called, number 25, I think. And I didn't think I'd have any use for the leftover 5 pearls, and I've decided to do something different. So all of the threads that you can see here, besides the 2 beige ones, are called for. So this is 28 count casual linen in 52, I think is the shade. Just your natural sort of linen color. And what I've also done is, you'll see, I've changed the color of the beard and the color of the shape, because the colors that were called for were completely just disappearing on my color of fabric. So I've changed those both for the lighter ones. And if you want to know which ones exactly, message me and I'll answer you either here or on Instagram. And then the other change that I've made, so basically my stocking is smaller than it's meant to be, but it's still sort of a good size stocking, I think. I think it's about 22 by 30 something centimeters on 28 count, and it's 2/2, if I didn't say that. And the only thing I have sewn on is the beads in here as the sort of snowflakes. And I haven't added any of the any of the charms or buttons yet. So what I'm planning to do is, I actually have another stocking in my stash now, and I'll show you that in my haul. I had bought it for my husband, and I don't know if I'll be stitching any more than just for the two of us, because it's just the two of us and our cats. So for now I'll probably stop on 2, and so I want to stitch his completely first, then I can back them both with you know, the iron-on sort of stabilizer so the fabric stops moving and all. I can't do it if I have plastic buttons sewn on, because they'll melt. So I'm going to finish his, well, start and finish his, then do the iron on, then sew the buttons and the leftover charms on, and then I'm going to fully finish them and sew stockings out of them. I've got the sort of materials to do the edge on them, which I'll show you when it's done. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I'm so happy. I've stitched it and I finished. So this was part of my, now I'm stitching whatever I want to stitch whenever I want to stitch it, and I'm starting it right now whenever I want to. Absolutely love the cape and the shirt. Love the roses, or whichever the flowers are in there. Love the sheep. So the reason I chose this particular one as to be mine is, I think this shepherd looks like a magician, and like I said, that's kind of my jam. So yeah, that was my March finish, which I am absolutely excited about, like I said. And I'm really pleased that my sort of conversion worked, where I've, like I said, I've taken 28 count linen with moulinet threads 2/2, and it still looks really great, really vibrant, really colorful, and I'm absolutely pleased. And now I have the leftover threads that I can use for other designs. Right, what else was I doing in March? So I've, if you follow me on Instagram, you've already seen it. So I posted a couple of these little ones and said, because I'm also a gamer and a PC gamer as well, I find that it's really hard to choose which to do on a given day when I have some free time. And a lot of the times it's a choice. Do I want to cross stitch today, or do I want to game today, as I don't have that much free time? And sometimes, especially when we have sort of a few days off, or, you know, a longer weekend, or, you know, just some more time in the evening, I'll put on a game, and if it has a lot of cutscenes and dialogues where I just need to listen and click through them, I can also stitch while I'm doing it, which is great, so I can get to do both. So a few of the little designs that I've stitched in this manner in March are these. I haven't shown this because it's a gift for a friend, and I'm hoping she won't see this video, or if she will, Maya, look away now. I'll be showing something you shouldn't see, and then you'll see it as your gift in sort of a week or so. So I've stitched this tiny little bunny that is designed by Mill Hill, and I'll probably again insert some pictures so you can see it up close. And this is all stitched in beads. There's no sort of crosses or anything else on it. And the reason I stitched it for Maya is she loves bunnies, she has 3 of her own, and most of the gifts we give her are bunny related, or at least part of the gift is bunny related. So when I saw this on eBay, I was like, absolutely, I need to have it, and I'll stitch it for Maya. So it's called just Rabbit, and like I said, it's all beads. It uses white perforated paper, which is 14 count, as you know, and then the way I finished it is I added the backing. I think it was in the kit, the pin sort of holder thing. I want to say it was in the kit. It might have been a golden color and I've swapped it for a silver one for my stash. I might be wrong. And I've just used white felt to do the backing, and I don't sew my felt on, I just glue it on, and I find that it stays perfectly fine, and I quite like it. So I've got this little tiny cute rabbit for Maya. And then I've got 2 little ones, which are Christmas ornaments. And so I've got this Father Christmas. He is, again, all done in beads. And these take like a couple hours at best. Well, maybe a bit more if you're getting distracted by also playing a video game. Lovely, lovely colors, very nice. I love stitching these, it's just such a joy. And then, like I said, it's an ornament. I backed it with this dark green felt, and I use the same golden, what's it called? Yeah, cord. The same golden cord for all of my Christmas ornaments, and I've got quite a few stitched already. And then the last one is another Christmas ornament, and it's a Christmas tree or a holiday tree. And again, this is all beads, and it uses a lot of the same colors as Father Christmas. And again, I've backed it with green felt and the golden cord to make it an ornament. Again, I'll insert pictures so you can see it up close. Like I said, these are all Mill Hill kits. It takes a few hours to stitch them, and they're about 300-400 beads in each of them. I counted because I have the whole spreadsheet with statistics, and I want to know every single design, every single stitch and bead that I've sewn on. So those were my starts and finishes in March. And then I had also 2 starts that I hadn't finished yet. So let me show you the bigger one first. So it lives on this scroll frame, and I'll show you this lovely cover. I did not make this one, but this is the one that inspired me to make the cover with Dumbledore. So my stitchy friend Sasha from Belarus has gifted me this a few years ago, probably before I moved as well. And she made it into a cross-stitch organizer, which I don't really use. And it's been just sat on my desk where I was enjoying the view of it for a while, until I've decided to add some Velcro to it, and I'll show you as well. To add some Velcro to it, and it perfectly fits my new scroll frames. So again, just Velcro, and like I said, it's meant to be an organizer, so it has all of the pockets for the hoop and for your pattern or something, for all of your threads. I think it even has like a little somewhere here. Yeah, I think it has like a pin cushion sewn in as well. So it's really lovely. I love the fabric inside. I love the outside. The design is just phenomenal. I haven't seen it before. And it's sea themed. It's got lots of specialty stitches. Well, it's mostly specialty stitches. It's got metallic threads for anchors. It uses beads. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And this charcoal linen looks absolutely insane. I love it so much. And I didn't want to take the organizer apart and frame it. So I've made it into a scroll frame cover, and I'm enjoying seeing it every day in my stash. Absolutely love it. So the start that I had this month was, and I'll insert the picture of the design here because it's a digital one and I don't have a paper copy. So I had actually stitched one of the Innocent Bones designs before. She's an English designer and has fantastic and really like stylized designs, which are all like sort of spooky and have to do with like tarot cards and zodiac signs and all sorts of things. I really love the way she designs them. I think they look really stylish. They sort of remind me of traditional tattoos in a way, with slightly different colors, but yeah. So I was gifted this lovely tarot card that says crafter on it by my lovely husband for the Valentine's Day as part of the gift, and I decided to start it straight away, like I said as well. I think as soon as I finished the stocking from Shepherd's Bush, I decided I'll start this. So here is my progress so far. Oh, and you can see literally everything in the back. Let me see. If I cover it, will you be able to see it better? Oh yeah, this is better. Okay, so here is my start. And like I said, it's the Crafter Tarot card by Innocent Bones. You can find her on Instagram, you can find her on Etsy, and I think she's also released a book recently, but it's under her real name, which I don't remember what it is, unfortunately. So I've made a few changes, if you can notice that. So I've gone into my stash. Actually know exactly how I want to FFO it, which is great. I've gone into my stash and I found this lovely piece of Dublin in Mystic Grey, I believe, and it's 25 count linen by Zweigart, and it has this really lovely sort of purplish tone to it, I think. And so when I was pulling the threads for this design, I found that a couple of them were sort of more warm toned, and I didn't think they'd look good on my fabric. So I swapped the color of the background, and I also swapped the color in the roses. So this dark red, wine red, and this sort of beigey, purpley background is something I've decided to change. And again, I'll insert pictures here so you can see things a bit closer. So yeah, I've started it, and I don't know if I've said it before. So when I normally start the designs, I try to do at least 1,000 stitches on them, unless the whole design is smaller than that. The reason I do it is I find it really hard to go back to designs that have sort of only, I don't know, like 50, 100, a couple hundred stitches. I find that I need to have a bigger chunk of it done already, so I can easily go back to it and make some more progress. So I'm really happy with my changes. I'm really happy with the fabric. The only thing is that because it's 25 count, I didn't like the coverage of 2, and so I'm stitching 3/2 with DMC threads. And I've got a lovely needle minder and has a kettle on it, and I do love my tea, so the kettle is very much on theme. And then it has the colors in it that match the this sort of dusty blue in the design. Absolutely love it. Stitches like a dream. It's not that big. I think I'm almost halfway done. Let me see. I've done 1,300 stitches on it approximately, and I think I'm about halfway, if not a bit more, done. And I'm planning to, well, let's not use the word plan. And I'm hoping to finish it in April. My other start in March was actually part of a series. So I'm stitching these green and red gnomes designed by Mill Hill. They live in my project bag that I made myself, and it's specifically made for, I made it specifically for the size of large Mill Hill kits. So it, like you can see here, it fits perfectly. I've stitched already three of them, yes. So there's only 5 in this series for some reason, not 6. I've already stitched 3. This is the 4th one, and I only just started it last night while gaming again, because I ran out of the little kits from Mill Hill that only use beads. I've decided to go on with the series, and I just really want to finish it this year, actually as soon as possible. So the little bag is really great for keeping my pattern, keeping my preview, and then the beads I organize in my wooden organizer. So I just sorted them into 2 compartments each of the bags. And if you want to know how to use it, I've shown it in my previous video on how to use a beading organizer. I don't sort them before I stitch on them. I find that they're different enough from each other in the same bag that it's quite easy to tell which color is which. And then once I'm done with the design, then I sort my Mill Hill beads into the little glass bottles you've seen again in one of the previous videos. I am using perforated paper from the kit, and if you haven't done these before, they were really generous on the amount of perforated paper, and you really don't need that much. So you can stitch each gnome on half of the sheet that is in each kit. I will keep the rest of the paper for other designs that I want to stitch myself, as like I said before, I don't stitch on plastic, only on paper, out of the non-fabric sort of materials. So it's only a tiny start. There's maybe like 50 stitches here, maybe less, again, just because I started last night. I think that is it for the things you haven't seen before. And then I worked on 3 of my whips, and I've made quite nice progress on all of them, I would say. I'm quite pleased. One of the designs I wasn't even hoping to pick up, and I'm really happy I did. So I'm going to show them in the ascending order of the amount of stitches I made in March. And let's start with the Stony Creek one. And thank you to everyone for commenting and saying that you love it. I love it too, very, very much. So this is the 12 Days of Christmas by Stony Creek. I hope you can see, even behind all of the extra special threads and things. Lives in this bag, which I call it a Christmas bag. And then I've got some beads and the hand dyeds and the metallics in this bag here. And my DMCs live on the thread organizer, again, that I've shown you before. So I'm stitching it on 32 count Water Lily by Witchilt, and I am on day 5. I think I've just crossed 50% of the design, if I'm not mistaken. So I've done 1200 stitches on this month in March, and I've done day 5 completely. I normally start with the frame and then I do the inside of it and finish with the back stitch and everything. The only thing all of these little motifs and the main one in the center are missing is beads. I didn't want to bead it as I go in this case because there's only sort of a handful as berries, and I'm just gonna do them when I'm done. So day 5 is done, and I'm doing this one every month. I'm doing one day to finish it in November, I believe, except for next 2 months, and I'll tell you that again in a minute. So I'm really pleased. I am really pleased. I love it. I love every time I work on it. It's such a joy. The colors are absolutely my favorite. So the dark wine reds, the olive greens, and these sort of mustardy, sandy yellows. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Absolutely love it. And yeah, such a joy, like I said. The next whip, which, like I said, I didn't even expect to pick up in March, but not only did I pick it up at the beginning of the month for a few stitches, I've also just picked it up recently again. I'm talking to you about the Japanese Garden by Dimensions. It's a kit, and it's my oldest whip currently. He is, it is 4 years old now, even more. A bit older than 4 years. It's a gift from my sister who lives in Japan and knows that I love Japan as well. And it's probably going to be the biggest design I've ever stitched until May. Well, once I finish it, I think it was going to be the biggest one I've ever made until I finish the one I start in May. Again, I'll tell you about that in a bit. So what I've done this month is, and like I said, I was working on the left top corner and the confetti that's in it. So here's where I am right now. If you haven't seen it before, the whole bottom is completely finished. There's nothing left there, no backstitch, nothing. It's completely done. And I've started the left top corner a few months ago, and I'm sort of going left to right, trying to move over to the right top corner, and that's where I'll finish it. And I am on 77% at the moment. I managed to do 2,000 stitches in it this month, which is fantastic. Like I said, I didn't expect it to be this much at all. So I'll insert pictures again. So what I've done this month is I've realized that unless I pick it up, I won't finish it anytime soon. Which makes sense, right? Unless you stitch on something, it won't be finished. I've decided I'll make myself a tiny little goal for every day or every evening whenever I have the time. And I've just stitched like 177 stitches one day. It decided that that's going to be my goal. It takes me about 55 minutes, maybe an hour to make that many stitches. So I've done it and I've stitched on it for 5 or 6 days that way, and I've made a progress of about 1,000 stitches, which I was already happy with and was going to just leave it at that and work on other things. And then at the end of March, because I've hit all of my self-imposed goals and didn't really want to stitch on anything at all, I wanted to pick something for the Easter weekend. So I'm filming today on, oh, what is it, 29th of March, I think. We have a 4-day long weekend. It's an Easter weekend, and I didn't want to just do other things and not stitch this weekend, but I also wanted to pick up something that is sort of closer to a finish, or something that I want to finish quite soon. And I've decided to pick it up again, and for some reason at the end of the month it didn't bother me at all. None of the confetti, none of the sort of mixture of colors, none of the, you know, the stitches that just don't make sense, you know what I mean? It's the blossoms in the trees, and they're so vague and sort of not detailed that it's just blotches of pink and purple and brown and green. So what I've done is I've just highlighted the left top corner on Cross Stitch Saga and started stitching it. I think it's called Extreme Cross Country by color. So I'm going from I'm stitching the color that has the biggest number of stitches in this quarter to the smallest. And so I've already knocked out a few of the colors completely, and I only have about 8 to go to finish the whole like left top corner, so I can move on to the right one and just finish the design completely. I still have a lot to go, I think about 10,000, and I'm hoping to make some more progress on it in the next couple months. I don't really want to put it away anymore. I just really want to finish it. I've had it for too long. 4 years is long enough. It is big, but not that big, and I just want to have it finished, frame it, put it on the wall. I think it will look fantastic, either in my bedroom or in the living room, and yeah, do my best to finish it sometime soon. So in the last few days I've made some good progress on it and stitched about 500-ish every day, and so I'm on 2,000 for it in March. I might still work on it because I have a couple days of March left. I might still work on it, depends on my mood. I would like to, I think. The only problem is, so it's quite large, like the design and the frame is quite large. I think the frame is about 70 centimeters wide, maybe 75 even. And so when I sit with it on the sofa with my stitching stand, even though we have a 3-seater, there isn't much space left for my husband on the sofa. And I mostly stitch it when I'm watching something with him downstairs, or he is playing a video game on PlayStation and I'm just sat next to him sort of participating. So I don't want to be a nuisance to him, but I also want to keep on working on it. So I made a deal that I'm sort of scooting to one side of the sofa to give him more space. and still working on it, which I'm really happy about. Right, and the star of the show, the one that got so many comments and so many likes, and thank you so much, is my Mirabilia. She is my one and only for now, but once I finish her, I'm hoping to quite soon start another one, just sort of have one Mirabilia on the go. So she is called Blossom, and she is MD 180 by Mirabilia by Nora Corbett. And I am actually stitching it in, from a digital pattern, so this is all, I just took the pattern out to just double check that mine is correct, that's all. And she doesn't have a bag really, well, she kind of does now, I'll show you that at the end. But she's being stitched on 32 count Witchelt linen that is meant to be peaceful purple, but it was over dyed by myself with purple Rit dye in aubergine or eggplant, one of those, or it's the same thing. So here she is, and I have rolled, I won't unroll it just because it's such a tricky one to roll because there's beads and I don't want to crush them. So I've added a piece of felt, I'll show you here. I've added a piece of felt in between the layers so the beads can sort of have the space to sort of dig into, but not into the fabric of the next layer. I was watching Teresa Little Stitcher, who I really loved. I haven't seen her before, and it was one of the videos she made a few weeks ago, and she was showing her absolutely gorgeous, I'm not sure what it's called properly, evening garden, evening bark in the evening. Basically it's a chatelaine mandala. She is stitching it on an over dyed, this like purplish gray fabric, which looks so good. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And she uses, I think, the Millennium frame, and she puts I saw that she puts felt in between the layers as well to protect, so she can bead as she goes. So I've seen that, I thought that's a great idea, and I'm going to do the same. And so I won't unroll it, like I said. And here's the progress I made in March, which I am absolutely excited about. She is coming along so nicely. So I have stitched 3,000 stitches on her this month, and I think I'll insert pictures so you can see it up close. I have beaded the sleeves completely. I finished the bow, the purple bow on the right, some of the ribbons, the turquoise ribbons on the left. I've started this sort of apricot-y orange background for the flowers as well on both sides, and I'm just really pleased. I absolutely love her. I love how she's turning out. I think she looks gorgeous on this fabric. I just really wanted her to pop a bit more. Peaceful purple is lovely, but it's a bit pale for my taste. I wanted something a bit more, yeah. So she's definitely above, she's definitely gone over a half. I think I'm at about 65 or 70% at this point. I think I've only got 6,000 left. Ideally, and again, you'll know why in a few minutes at the end of the video, I would love to finish her in April. However, 6,000 stitches is about half of my monthly stitching, so I'm not sure. I'll see how it goes. I'll see how much time I have in April, sort of taking into account work and holidays and family gatherings and celebrations and things, and the weather getting a bit better here in UK, so hopefully we'll be out and about a little bit more as well. Yeah, so there is my Mirabilia. I think that's all for cross stitching specifically. Now I wanted to show you a few of my project bags. So I got really excited in March. I've decided I want to sew some project bags. Besides the fact that I needed a few, I also just like the process, to be honest with you. So I've made 3 this month. They're not perfect. I am not a sewist, like I said. I have learned to sew them watching somebody's Flosstube video as well, and I will, if I can't link it, I'll leave you the name of the channel and the name of the video in the description below. I think I have it in my watch later saved. So all of the bags that I use and I love are all vinyl front ones. So one of the ones I made this month, oh, it looks so crinkled now, is this lovely one with sugar skulls and cacti and chili peppers and guitars, and it's just giving me such a Dia de los Muertos sort of carnival vibe. Just so vibrant, so beautiful, absolutely love it. And I was trying to do a challenge of sort of sewing from my stash. So I had this lovely fabric in stash already. I didn't have a companion for it. I wanted just a basic black one. So the way I also make my bags, and I love that specific sort of combination, I use a fabric with pattern on the back and sort of wrapping around and around the zipper. And then on the inside, I usually use plain fabric with no designs because, well, it's going to be covered anyways, but also I want sort of the other parts of the bag to shine. I found this purple and I thought it was absolutely perfect. So this bag currently holds my Mirabilia patterns. I only have 3 in my stash, but they fit here absolutely perfectly, live here happily, and they're sort of all like in these purpley, pinkish, greenish colors, and they look so great here. So there's bag number 1. And then, oh, I don't want to spoil it because it's my plans. Let me just take it out then. So I am planning something cheeky for May. Again, I'll talk to you in a few minutes. And I need some more project bags. And one of the bags that I made, and this one was, this was a weird one. So I just pulled my threads out of my organizer that's behind me, and I saw this dark burgundy red cotton thread, and I thought, oh, that would be so lovely in a project bag. I was thinking I needed more Christmas themed project bags because I tend to stitch a lot of Christmas, and so I saw this fabric and I actually had a companion for it, and a lovely Christmas bag was made. Again, it's a bit crinkled inside, I'm not sure why. So it has this lovely poinsettia design with glittery golden leaves. It has a black background, and then I had made a library sort of bookshelf bag for my let me just show you, for my dimensions design a few months ago. And when I bought this fabric in the shop, I bought a companion, a plain companion for it, which was this dark red, and I had more of it left. And I thought, oh, do you know what? This will be absolutely perfect. I don't know if you can tell, it has a bit of mottling on it. It's not sort of completely plain, and I love it. I just love it. I quilt the backing of my bags. I really like the way it looks and feels. Then it's a bit sort of thicker. Yeah, and I used the burgundy zipper and that burgundy thread that I wanted to use so much. And then, like I said, I'm planning something cheeky in May, and I made another bag. So this was actually something I did last night, and God, I had some trouble with the threads that I used. Some of the sewing threads I have are not of the best quality apparently. I didn't realize it until I started sewing. So there was a lot of swearing, a lot of promising to throw my sewing machine out the window, but I managed to finish it and then just threw the threads out. They were just not good quality, and I have some good quality, like Gutermann cotton threads coming in the mail today. So I've got this absolutely lovely purple turquoise bag. And again, this was absolutely made from stash, and I had this amazing fabric with I don't know. So the reason I loved it so much, I think it's so versatile. The way you look at it, it could be either a forest, or it could be waves, it could be sort of something snowy. So it has these sort of sashiko patterns on the hills, trees, or waves, whichever you want to call them. And I found this lovely polka dot in my stash to match it. I think it's gorgeous, and it sort of reminds me of snow. White zipper with white stitching all over it. And these are all, I think, well, not exactly, but they are meant to be about 13 by 10, and they fit A4 size charts perfectly. They don't fit the big Dimensions Gold Collection front covers in them, but the paper patterns and booklets fit here perfectly. I love it. I love it so much. It turned out so good. It's not really my favorite color combination normally, but because I had it in stash, I thought, do you know what? I'll make it. And it actually perfectly matches the design that lives in it now. Oh, and I had such a blast sewing bags. It's just, the first couple, when I made them probably a couple of years ago, weren't easy, and yeah, and now I think I wouldn't sell them probably, maybe not yet, but I really enjoy making them. It's such a good process, it's just so enjoyable, and then I just, yeah, like I make it myself and I can put my projects in it instead of buying a ready-made one. And like I said, I enjoy the process a lot. As soon as sewing started being sort of a success story for me, I absolutely started enjoying it. Right, what else can I show you? Right, probably now. All right, let's get to haul. I've got a bit, not much, and some of it is sewing as well, and I'll be really quick about it. So probably let me start with an accessory that I think is really useful. You've seen me fully finish some designs with felt on the back, and I actually have a felt kit to make a Christmas stocking. So I've heard really good things about these scissors, and I got a pair. So these are Tim Holtz, and they are the tiny sort of little ones. It's not full size. And I've got them on Amazon this month, and they are so good at cutting felt. They've got like what's the word, like a serrated, like a little bit, they've got like a specific edge to them. They don't have a flat sort of blade, and it cuts felt so nicely and so precisely, so it doesn't sort of stick out on the front. So I really like them. I have also got a couple of pieces of fabric. Let's do fabric. And I've got a gigantic piece of, well, gigantic for me, 32 count Witchell in color sandstone, and this is 50 by 140 centimeters. So it's a, oh, I'm so bad at these fat 1/4. One of my favorite fabrics, like I said, 32 count Witchell. Then I was buying something on one of the websites, and I only needed a couple of threads and they couldn't travel alone. So they had really good prices for some of the Zweigart colors. And I didn't realize this was a sort of standard color in their collection. I hope you can see. It's a really gentle mottled purple. So it's a vintage purple by Zweigart, and it's just a fat 1/50 by 70. So this is Belfast. Really love the color. Will be so glad to stitch something on it. And then I went to Hobbycraft because I needed something for sewing. So this is probably going to be a bit of a rant. If you live in the UK, you know that L&S's or local needlecraft stores, shops, aren't sort of found on every corner, and some of them, well, depending on where you are, my closest one is probably in Wales, and I'd have to drive about 3.5 hours to get there. And yeah, that's far. That's really, really far. And I really love it. And it's also the one that doesn't work every day. It does sort of a couple of days a week. You have to make an appointment. It's a whole big thing. And I mostly shop with them online instead of going over there. And I've tried shopping at Hobbycraft or something more local, and I haven't found anything in Nottingham where I live. So I've sort of given up on Hobbycraft in terms of cross-stitching. I know they have their DMCs, which are always overpriced. I know they have sort of a couple of patterns, but everything is really overpriced, and just, I don't go there for cross-stitching anymore. However, they used to be really good with sewing, and they had, at least the store nearest to me where I live, had sort of 2 stories. There was a lot of sewing, a whole department, so many fabrics, lovely collections. They made collaborations with Jules and I think Kath Kidston and a few other sort of very famous English textile designers. And I thought, like I said, inspired by all the project bag making in March, and I thought I'll go over, I'll see what they have in stock. Obviously easier to get the colors right when you're seeing it in person with your own eyes, and I thought I'll get some more fabrics and some of the sewing threads. And unfortunately, to my disappointment, they have gotten rid of the first floor pretty much altogether. Sewing is sort of just one tiny corner in the whole store that's got all of the other things if you've been to Hobbycraft. And I just left quite disappointed, to be honest with you. Didn't get any fabrics, I think. All of the fat quarter stacks they had were sort of either Easter themed, or they were very like just sort of targeted to like kids projects and designs. So like a lot of Disney and a lot of like cutesy little patterns, which is nothing, there's nothing wrong with that obviously, but that's not what I was going for. And like I said, they used to have so much more variety. So that was not a good trip, and I probably won't be going back there again and just start buying things online. But I got something really cool which I didn't expect to get there at all, and I was really, really pleased that I went in the end. So I got this lovely little frame. It's a 6 by 6 inches, and it's sort of like a shadow box, but it has the front edge is white, and then the sides are sort of this light oak, washed out driftwood oak color. I'm sure it's just well designed plastic, but the reason I'm so excited is I have a fully stitched and fully finished Mill Hill design from the sort of sea creature series. So I've got the star, the sea star, like I said, stitched and framed, and I have another design in my stash which is a companion piece in my mind, which is the seahorse, and I was meant to stitch it this year, and I was really delaying it and just doing everything I can not to stitch it because I didn't have where to frame it. Last time I bought the frame for the other one, it was on sale, and it sort of sounded like they weren't coming back in stock. So when I saw it on the shelf, I was really excited. I was very pleased. It wasn't expensive either, and then now I have the same frame for my companion piece, which I can finally stitch this year. So really excited. Do not like Hobbycraft. Nothing wrong with the people working there or anything else. Just I think if you're doing crafts with your kids, or if you're trying different things here and there just a little bit, it makes a lot of sense. If you are really into one of the hobbies like sewing or cross stitching or crocheting, though they do have a good variety of yarn, I think, it might not be the place for you. It's not for me. So there you go. End of rant. What else have I bought? Right, those designs I'll show you in a second. Fabrics. Right, so I am kitting up a start and had a few threads come in. I think I've shown you in one of the videos, I'm not sure. So the lovely box with the Jeanette Douglas design keeps all of the Krynics for this upcoming start, including a Threadworks that is an overdyed Krynic, which I had no idea even exists in this world. But yeah, I had a couple more come in, and as you can see, some of them are sort of the old stock on the thin bobbins and some are on the thicker ones. And then I've always wanted to try some of the hands-on designs patterns. I really love her patterns, and I now follow her on Instagram, and I've decided to start from something small, and I've been eyeing this one for months. And like I said, as part of my new I buy what I want and I stitch what I want whenever I want movements, I am just so excited to stitch this little one. So it's Mary Berry, and it's a little wreath with berries, I guess, and it has buttons on it as well. It's stitched on this lovely, I think it's a charcoal, it's Weekday Works gunmetal, but it's basically a charcoal-ish sort of linen. I love it so much. I don't know why, just this particular one just grabbed me and just wouldn't let go. And so I've ordered this. I had something coming from 1 to 3 stitch, and I couldn't just get that. Like I said, it couldn't have traveled alone. So I got the pattern, and I've also got the embellishment pack with all of the buttons. The Mary is a bit fading at the end, so I'm wondering if I can sort of take some paint or a marker and just color the rest of it in, or even the whole thing. Maybe find like a glittery green. I don't know. I love it. I love it so much. I think I have the perfect fabric in stash. I think I have a couple of pieces of this sort of charcoal linen, so this will be great. Might be closer to Christmas, might be sometime soon, who knows. I might stitch it tomorrow. Like I said, stitching what I want whenever I want it. And then yeah, I think I'll show you this one last purchase before I talk about my plans for the next 2 months. Oh, and fabrics. Right, so the last cross-stitching piece that I bought this month, I actually bought it a few months ago. So like I said, because I'm from Belarus, I have obviously friends back at home, and one of them is a stitchy friend, and she is absolutely lovely and amazing. Besides being a great friend and us discussing not only stitching but other things as well, she helps me get some of the things from Belarus or from Russia that I can't buy here, or that cost like a lot to ship to myself. So a few months ago, Owl Forest have released a book with their patterns, and I fell in love absolutely straight away. Somehow we missed the first sort of order, and then a couple of weeks, and then a couple months later they restocked it, which was great. And so I bought it then. It probably is like a 2023 purchase, but Masha, who is my friend, like I said, she sort of collects a few things that I've ordered and sent them together in a bigger package. So I just got it this month in March, and this is the Owl Forest's book of embroidery or cross stitch. I love it so much. Even the front cover is just amazing. I'll show you a couple of designs that I loved. I won't be doing a flip through, though if you do want to flip through, and I have a few more cross stitch books in my stash, let me know in the comments and I'd be happy to film that as a separate video. But there are a few really gorgeous designs. So this sort of Robin Hood looking owl is just definitely calling my name. I live in Nottingham, if I haven't said before, which is the birthplace, the sort of place of Robin Hood, so that's absolutely great. I love the frames as well. Oh, they look so, so good. And then there are a few fantastic samplers. So the alphabet sampler itself looks just so, so good. Let me cover the pattern with something here. There we go. So here's the alphabet. It's a Cyrillic one, obviously, but I love it. I might want to stitch it. And then let me just show you, like I said, it's gonna take too long to show everything. So let me just show you the one why I got the book in the first place. So I actually have a thread pack for one of the designs from the book, and I'm planning to stitch it sometime soon, and it is the Czar pomegranate It's this gorgeous, gorgeous sampler with pomegranates, and I love the colors. This is just absolutely my color palette, like I said. And I've got the pack. I don't have the fabric for it yet. I'm sure I'll find something in my stash. Might not be white, might be something colored. I am not really a white fabric stitcher. I rarely use it, only if it's absolutely necessary. I love a colored fabric. I love a blue, I love a purple, a green, absolutely mottled, something darker, sort of a parchment color, natural linen color, the sort of lamb's wool by Witchold. I'm not big, I don't really love white fabric. So there's going to be one of the starts. So yeah, I got the book. I'm so excited. There are more designs from here that I absolutely love and want to stitch. I just need to get more thread packs for them. And so the great thing about this is if you like the design from the book, you can buy a thread pack for the whole design. I don't think there are kits. I don't think you can buy a specific size fabric for it, but on their website you can find the thread pack, which is just so good. I'm so excited. Right, and the last purchase, like I said before we talk about plans, is some sewing fabric. So inspired by the disappointment in Hobbycraft, I have gone onto Etsy and found a lovely local seller who has great prices and quality of fabrics, and I got a few fat quarters to make more bags or fully finish some of the designs. I'll show you just a couple because it's, yeah, I'll show them together then because it's not the most exciting thing for some of you. I've got just a piece of a fat quarter of just black. I like a black background in the bags. Lovely orange, sort of a tangerine color, and this lovely taupey gray, like slate sort of gray. Love it. It's going to look so nice. And like I said, I use the plain colored ones inside the bags and quilt them. And then a couple more that are mottled. I didn't know they made these. I was really happy about these. So this lovely brownish taupe, a green, really vibrant grass green sort of color, and then my favorite, and honestly the reason I made the order, so again, I need another bag for a specific purpose, and I've just seen this fabric and I fell in love from first sight, and I gave myself a few days to think about it, and I just came back and bought it. It's got owls. Look, am I holding it upside down? Oh my god, look at this. It's just, it's olive green with owls. How perfect is this? It's just so me. So I'll show you why I bought it, and I also think any of the owl forest designs could live here later because they're owls and it's owl forest, right? Okay, so plans and right, plans. Like I said, I'm not making any more hard plans, any promises to myself, anything I have to completely stick to. I am stitching whatever I want, whenever I want. And I can say to you something today and it will change tomorrow. For now, I would like to do the following things. So the I'm just looking at them now. I won't show you the pictures because you've just seen them, right? So I would love to ideally finish the Mirabilia in April. If not, then at least stitch half of what's left, so about 3,000 on it. I would love to stitch more on the Japanese garden. There's no way I can finish it in April. It's got another 10,000 left. So honestly, to stitch it at all would be great. 1,000 or 2 would be perfect. I'm going to stitch 2 days of Christmas on my Stony Creek sampler. I'll explain why in a minute. So I'll do day 6 and 7, and that's about almost 3,000, so that's already quite a lot. And then I need to I have a limited number of scroll frames, and I already got 4 new ones in March. So I decided I should pause purchasing of having more scroll frames means you can start more designs. So I'm trying to artificially hold myself back a little bit in my starting and doing whatever I want madness. So I want to finish this one so that I can free up the frame because I need it for something else. So the reason I have made these purchases and the reason I have sewn so many project bags, and I'm showing you this now, is I want to do Mania this year. So I have, so I think a few years ago, probably one of the Russian-speaking stitchers from the community got inspired by the Mania as seen on Flosstube and decided to start what in the Russian-speaking community we call April, the month of starts. And people would do it in all sorts of different ways. You could do all 30 starts every single day, or more even than every single day, or you could do a week of starts at the beginning and then stitch them through the month, or you sort of do whatever you want. I've done a few of these Aprils of starts. I've never done a whole month of every single day starting new things. I would be overwhelmed. I don't like to, first of all, I don't have too many whips. Second of all, I don't even want to stitch that many designs right now. And then I find it really unsatisfying to sort of start something and have to stop again and start something else and stop and start. And the way I've done it before is I have started only a few. I think 7 was my biggest number of starts a month. And once I've done like a week and then I was stitching on it the rest of the month. The other time I sort of stitched a couple of days on each of them. So so this year on the English channel, I am going to do Mania as it is in the English-speaking stitching community. I know everyone's doing their own sort of theme. Somebody's doing Animania or something else, dedicating the month to specific designer or type of designs or a specific theme or whatever, doing 30 or 10 or 5 or so. Everyone's doing their own thing. I want to do 4, maybe 5, and that is still sort of in the air. So 4 starts for sure, maybe 5. I will be, so like I said to you in April, for the plans for the channel as well, I want to film 2 videos in April, or around the 10th of April, around the 20th of April. So you will see some of my favorite finished and FFO designs in April and stitching with cats. And then at the end of April, you'll see the April roundup, just like today. And then in May, I'm going to be starting the 4 designs that I've chosen so far. On the 1st, the 8th, whatever, 15th and 22nd, right? And then I'll be stitching every one of them for a whole week. I don't think I'll be stitching anything of my current whips. I'll probably put everything away, give myself as much time as possible to work on those starts. And then I think there's like a few days left in May that way, 3 maybe at the end, where I haven't decided yet if I want another start. I really want to start one of the Owl Forest ones. I have a kit, I have a few fabric packs, with a few thread packs with electronic patterns. I also have made a pre-order for a shepherd's bush kit that is really special and really beautiful and large, and I am waiting for it to come in, and it's going to take a couple months. So I'm not sure if it's going to make it or if I will want to stitch on it when it arrives straight away. So I'm leaving myself the room to make a 5th start if I want it. For now, I'm just making 4. So that is it. Really large video. I hope you enjoyed it. I have just laid out all my cards for the next couple months in front of you. And yeah, before I finish this off, I wanted to make a couple of mentions and talk to you super quickly about the shows and games that I've played and seen this month. So I have been rewatching Downton Abbey by myself, which I really love. I've seen it before. It's great to do with stitching. I find that when I watch a show that's interesting enough that it captivates me, but not too interesting where I have to see every single thing. I can mostly listen and then look up once in a while, and then my needle is just then on fire. Just like in the excitement of the show, I get excited about the stitching and just stitch quicker and more and with more enjoyment. I have been rewatching Friends with my husband, which is just so lovely. We've been watching mostly like these long-ish sitcoms lately. Yeah. And then we went to the cinema to see Dune 2 the other day in IMAX, and it was so worth it. So it was amazing. One of the best films I've seen for sure. We saw Dune, the first Dune a couple of years ago in the cinema as well. Then rewatched it on Netflix when it landed on Netflix again, and just absolute awe and fascination. Need to read the books as well. And I've been playing, like I said, replaying Witcher 3, which is one of my favorite games. Have played it before, now replaying it again while my husband plays it for the first time. I finally convinced him. Now for the mentions. So lovely stitchers from other channels and other places have mentioned me, and Gammy Stitcher has mentioned me and said I have very beautiful stitching. Thank you so much, I appreciate that. And then I want to mention a couple people as well. I've already mentioned Teresa Little Stitcher. She's an UK based stitcher who has gorgeous stitching. She does overhead camera sort of filming besides herself as well, and just she looks amazing, her stitching looks amazing, and I just absolutely love watching her. And then an absolute sensation for me this month, and I have not watched much of Flosstube this month, but one that I can definitely recommend, and I will go back to them more and more, is Stitching the Globe, Cross Stitch the Globe with Stephanie and Alison. I just loved their channel. I think I found them through the most expensive patterns and kits videos, and then I got very quickly sucked into all of the other extras and started watching their regular Flosstube, and I think I ended up binging like all of the videos that they had come out at that point, which I'm a bit behind now by a few weeks, but I fell in love. They are fantastic, they're hilarious, they are just so good together, just sort of bouncing off each other with their ideas and things. So I love that they stitch different things, they have very different taste, and it's just a joy to watch them. So if you haven't seen them before, Cross Stitch the Globe, I will, again, if I can't link or add people, I'll at least sort of mention them on the comments in the description. Go watch them, they are fantastic. So I think this is finally it. I have shown you everything I've done in March. I was so excited to film this video, you guys. Thanks to your support and your lovely comments and just absolutely overwhelming, wonderful feedback. I just fell in love with this community, and I am just so excited to be a part of it and stitch and show you my stitching and show you my photos on Instagram as well. So thank you again so much. I have prepared a tiny giveaway. I hope you don't mind that it's a tiny one. Like I said, I didn't expect to get so many subscribers so quickly. I will be doing a bigger one when we hit 1,000 subscribers. For today, I would like to give away this lovely shepherd's bush pattern chart. I have a vintage copy from, when is it? I have this lovely pattern, vintage one from 2004. I've got a stack of quite nice, lovely vintage shepherd's bush patterns. If you would like to win this, please don't mention giveaway. Don't say anything. Don't say the word giveaway in the comments. What you want to write is bulb, literally what's written on the design. So B-U-L-B. You can use it organically in your sentence in the comments, or you can just put the word bulb or a anything to do, either of those is fine. And then you need to be 18 years old, so you can give me your address. And I haven't shipped internationally before yet, so I'm going to give this one away to anyone living in the UK, if that's okay. So I will run it for, let's say, 10 days. I'll be filming my next video on the 10th of, or around the 10th of April, and the end of the, let's say the end of April 9th till midnight. Well, we'll be switching to summertime soon, so British summertime, midnight. You can still enter using the word bulb in the comments. So I think this is finally it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are excited to see what I stitch next. Thank you for your time. Hope you have a fantastic, wonderful, stitchy April, and I will see you very soon in my next video. Thank you.